Well, we're not like Collingwood and Geelong who've been doing that for most of the season. So for us to have a convincing victory, but more importantly, just be really solid throughout the 4 quarters and win every quarter. I think that was a key goal for us going into the game, to try and put sustained pressure on the Port Adelaide side from go to woe. And sometimes it's difficult when you get away to a really good start like we did to continue the ferocious attack on the ball and the opposition, and for us to possess the ball as much as we did but still out-tackle the Port Adelaide side tells us as a coaching group that the players had that real endeavour for the contest right throughout the course of the day, and that was what was really pleasing for us.
As a person who's involved in Port Adelaide and had some very good times there, how do you feel about the current position of the footy club, given that you've known quite a lot of people and that gives a formative influence on footy right now?
Yeah, well, I don't really want to talk too much about Port. That's up to Matty and obviously the Port Adelaide speak. Only to say, as Mike Sheen said in the paper today, there's always got to be a team on the bottom of the ladder. I can remember in 2005 going across to Port Adelaide and the roles were exactly reversed. We were a scratchy club trying to find our way, and at 5 minutes before half time, Richie Vandenberg had a shot for goal that would have been 8 goals each. From that point in the game until the end of the game, it was 21 goals to 2. They'd just come off their 2004 premiership and they put us to the sword that day. It's just swings and roundabouts, and right at the moment they're feeling as low as they perhaps have in their AFL history. But that club is a very, very proud club, and they will return. It just looks so far away at the moment, but it looks so far away from us in 2005 as well. And the wheel will turn, and they've got some great people involved in that club. And historically, they've always been a very, very proud club, and I'm sure that they'll get themselves back on the right track soon.
Brad Sewell came off during that 3rd quarter. I think he was in the rooms for a while. Will he be any concern for next week? And was it his left knee?
No, his legs are all right. He just got a knee in the back. So we're it was sort of halfway through the 3rd quarter. Then we kept him off until 3/4 time, just trying to make a call on whether else that someone would be injured and could we use our sub with Sewell. So that's when the super sub Lukey Bruce came on in the 3/4 time. So Sewell will be okay. He could have come back on, but we're going to sub someone off at 3/4 time anyway. So Bruce could get on, but there's no point taking a further risk with Sewell. He should be fine. It's just whether he got another knock on it would have hurt him a little bit. So we decided to take him out of the game.
Alistair, what do you make of Cyril's performance today?
Yeah, it was pretty special. We went into the game thinking to ourselves the Port didn't have a lot of guys that can play on Cyril in their back half. But you never expect him to have a display like he performed today. But that's really good for him. He hasn't kicked 6 goals in a game of footy before, and it's really good that I think we had 14 goal scorers today. So despite the fact that Buddy and Cyril had good days, it was good that we had a really good spread. Had a lot of midfielders and even half-backs getting involved in the scoreboard. So that's really important for us. And for Cyril and Buddy to have good days. We've played in pretty tough conditions over the past 2 weeks, really tough conditions in wind and rain down in Launceston last week against the Kangaroos, and prior to that, the game against Fremantle was really tough conditions too. So it was really good to be able to get on the MCG and show some of the skills that we've got. But yeah, those 2 boys would have appreciated the drier conditions today.
Pleased with a couple of the contested marks he took were really authority, I thought.
Yeah, and I think Hales provided us with a really good target up forward, and as well throughout the course of the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's been really strong too. So it's an important part of the game now to be able to take contested marks as part of the game that's come back into vogue. But I thought there's a really good balance with our side today between hitting the lower uncontested marks and also the longer kicks down the line. Yeah, he whacked one out on the full, if you remember. But it was good that he's able to convert well. It'll do a lot for his confidence.
You talk about Collingwood Geelong doing that on a regular basis, having a really big win. Does the competitor like have at least one game a year close to the finals where everything clicks and you have a big win? Is that good for the group?
I'm not too sure. I don't want to look into it too much, other than that our clear goal for us going into the game was to be really strong at contested footy and to tackle well. And if we could do those two things particularly well, it would give us a really good opportunity to win the game of footy. So it was just quarter by quarter. And now you add up the quarter by quarter victories, we end up having a very, very substantial win. But Port are probably at their lowest ebb, so in a sense you'd expect that the result might blow out in the end. But we prepared, looking at the Port Adelaide side, saying if they get their game up and going, they can be very, very damaging. And we needed to make sure we just played good, consistent footy, and that's what we did. We had a significant margin in the end of the game, but we'll just move on pretty quickly. We've got a pretty formidable opponent next Friday night against Carlton. It'll be a great game of footy, and we need to test ourselves again.
Just to take just that question at a slightly different angle, when you say Geelong and Collingwood have been doing that regularly, does your team need to have that today to truly believe they belong with Collingwood and Geelong, or do they already have that belief?
Yeah, too hard to say. Sometimes winning games of footy where you just got to tough it out, and we had to really grind for our victory last week, and it's really good to be challenged from time to time too, to really grind out different ways that you can win a game of footy. Last 2 weeks in particular, wind and rain, interstate, really difficult for players to work their way through that. So sometimes that can be really beneficial to your side, but also it's a benefit to you today to get great confidence out of being able to win a game convincingly. When you're well on top of a side, rather than drop off and allow them to kick easy goals when there's nothing really in the game in the second half. So that was really pleasing. So not sure what's the great benefit going into finals. We just take it week by week and see what we can do next week against Carlton, add up the wins at the end of the year, and hopefully there's enough for us to finish top 4 and give ourselves a really good assault on the last part of the year.
Are you pretty happy with your big man combination of Hale and Bailey? Do you think they could both fit in your side come finals? Bailey obviously had a great round last week, and Hale, they were both pretty good today as well.
Yeah, they've been pretty strong for us. With Hale plays most of his time up forward, but gives some relief to Max in the ruck, and they've been pretty good for us the last few weeks. So I'd imagine that they can continue on, but we've needed them to be that way because Renouf's been out injured, and obviously Ruffy's out for the year, but. We'd expect Renouf to perhaps play in the next week or two. So how that ends up balancing up of what our best mix is with our rucks come the end of the year, we'll have to wait and see. But it'll be good to have a little bit more ruck support with Brent coming back into the mix in the next week or two.
I think you said you had about 30 players sort of in the mix for a final spot. Was that narrowed down at all today? Or do you still have a pretty big?
No. We want it to be 35. To be fair. We've had some injury curse at different stages throughout the year, but every side has them, and we want to have as much depth as we can so that on any given day, given the opponent, or if you've got unfortunate with injury, you've got any player on your list is capable of coming in, and the greater group that you've got to be able to come in and fulfil their role is really important for the side. So if we've got 35, that'd be great. Just at the current time, I think there's probably 30 to 32 that could legitimately put their hand up and come in and perform the role to the level that would be required. But that was a key reason why Bateman and Bruce were significant contributors for us today. We need those guys to be getting some exposure to the level in the last part of the year so that they can be part of that group of players that can help us move through the finals.
You also spent obviously talk about the income players facing competition where it's bad for the AFL as a whole.
What was the question, sorry?
So just about the amount of big blowouts in the competition recently.
All right, I'll just leave that to Mick, mate.
The crowd today was running 27,000. Does that say that fans aren't enjoying the conference?
I'm not too sure. I think you'd have to look at the history of these two sides and what sort of attendances. I've been to a Hawthorn Port Adelaide game here that had less than 10,000. So 27 is probably pretty good.